Bitcoins. So I know you are an expert in payments. Very few people have worked at PayPal and Square. Very complex industry. Just what's your view on Bitcoins as a civilian? I own Bitcoins. I'm up like 75% on Bitcoins.
Well, you should retire.
Yeah. And then as, let's say as an angel investor over the last couple of years, if this had happened, how would you have thought about it? And then now as an institutional investor. So walk me through those three different lenses.
So I'd say I get asked this question a lot, as you might expect. Almost every party, cocktail party, dinner party, speech, somebody wants to talk about Bitcoins.
Okay. I haven't seen you tweet about it though.
Yeah, so probably because I don't have a strong perspective. So I'm not totally sure how Bitcoins play out. What I would say is a couple things are interesting. The underlying primitives of Bitcoins are absolutely fascinating. And people will take some of the advances, intellectual advances, repackage those in areas that have nothing to do with payments and currency. So understanding why Bitcoins are interesting is a worthwhile exercise for everybody who's in the technology field and investing field. Insofar as we talk about the United States, which is really most of my background, although I do know a little bit about payments in various places. I'm also still on the board of Zoom, and we're doing international remittances. So I've learned about some markets, but fundamentally I understand like the U.S. market from a regulatory perspective, from a consumer perspective, from a merchant perspective, and from like a payments network perspective. There is no chance that Bitcoins become successful in the United States, period. End of story. The government can end this as soon as they want to. They'll do exactly what they did, and we went through this at PayPal, with online gambling, which is you make the penalty, you attack and make illegal the actual marketing of the product. So Yahoo used to run ads for internet gambling sites. One day, the U.S. Department of Justice called up Yahoo and said, hey, if you continue to run these ads, we're going to indict you for violating various things. And Yahoo said, okay, that's interesting. We're going to stop running those ads. So you can make it illegal to actually advertise that you either accept or will get paid in Bitcoins. You don't have to actually prosecute the transaction, track down the transaction. Just the mere fact that you say you accept Bitcoins can be a crime. And lots of precedent for this. So it's very easy if someone in DC really wants to stop Bitcoins in the United States to stop Bitcoin transactions.
Because I think on eBay right now, you can, if you sell an item,
you can change that very quickly.
Okay.
So that's very vulnerable, and it's very easy to do.
Okay.
And there are U.S. attorneys who almost certainly will do some similar things. We went through this at PayPal later than the Yahoo, a year after the Yahoo sort of prosecution or threat of prosecution occurred. Mm-hmm. We got ourselves in a little bit of trouble because we were processing some transactions for internet gaming sites. This is before the law changed and made that illegal. It was an interpretation and a vague one at that. But actually, in fact, I actually predicted that when I saw the Yahoo mess occur. I started internally lobbying my colleagues at PayPal that, if they're going to go after Yahoo, it's only a matter of time before they find us. So we better start thinking about growing our business in different directions, which turned out to be true. But secondly, so I think it's just easy for regulators in the United States. Do I think Bitcoins could succeed outside the United States? Absolutely. For a variety of different reasons. But the Bitcoin trend in the United States runs so contrary to every payments and financial services trend since 9/11 that it's almost inconceivable to me that the regulators allow Bitcoins to continue. So for example, if you start a new payments company, as you may know, there are so many different hoops and hurdles you have to go through. California requires a money transmitter license. Federal government may require you to register as a money services business. There's a set of implications to knowing your customer. Bitcoins violate like all of those immediately. And it would be somewhat perverse if the regulators who are harassing very legitimate companies, harassing meaning like actually scrutinizing all the I's and T's, make sure the letter, those I's and T's are crossed and stuff, suddenly ignore this whole other field that like completely ignores the base and just went after the companies that are following the base. I mean, you even see it in sort of in the New York City version of this. All of the recent fines that JPMC and other Amex and other big institutions have paid. It's all for like transactions moving money that were just slightly, off of like the regulations. And these are billion-dollar fines. So I find
you think more of that may be coming?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I think to some extent either people are just waiting to see if like crashes under its own weight because it's complicated, or who decides to take the lead. But over time, this will happen, like in the United States. Now, again, I think there are markets where currency, payments, transaction security, physical security, are so broken that Bitcoins may be a solution. Like physical security of moving, I have $100,000 I want to transfer to you. it's physically dangerous for both of us to be involved in that transaction. Bitcoins can be a great solution to that. So there are definitely areas. Now, if it did surround the rest of the globe, A, it could be interesting from a financial perspective, period. B, could that envelop the United States? Possibly, although if you look at payments, generally it's been more like soccer versus football. Football is more popular here, soccer is more popular elsewhere. So I'm not sure that that would work, but I personally just don't see a future for Bitcoins here. Is there second or third generation? Maybe, somebody evolves, but it kind of is fundamental to the concept that there's some, sort of obfuscation of the transactors, and that is inconsistent with U.S. law at the moment.